Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live Chat with Josey. Today I am hosting a Gambian politician. He's also a lawyer who served as Vice President of the Gambia and Minister of Women's Affairs and also, I think, Foreign Affairs under President Adama Barrow. His name is Ousainou Darboe. I hope I've pronounced your name very well, sir. Apologies.
That is right. That is right.
All right, good evening and welcome to Live Chat with Josey.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, so it is a culture here. I know I tried to introduce you to our audience, but it would be an honor, sir, if you can also tell our viewers exactly who you are. Who is Ousainou Darboe?
Well, Ousainou Darboe is from rural Gambia, and but went to school in the capital city and studied law in the University of Lagos. I did my bachelor's, also called to the Nigerian Bar. I did my professional training at the Federal Law School, and I also did a postgraduate course in Canada, called a master's degree. And I'm a lawyer and a politician.
All right, so we are talking about the Gambia today. That is our focus on this live chat. How is the COVID-19 situation on ground?
Well, reports that we get from the official circles appears to be that the COVID-19 is not spread as we thought it would be. There appears to be some containment of pandemic, and of course, and I think that is the reason why the vast majority of the Gambians are not observing the protocols. There is hardly anyone that puts on the face mask, and of course, washing of hands. You can only witness that if you go to places that you have hand washing stations. Of course, social distancing is also not being observed, but we do not get reports of many new cases of of COVID-19, nor do we get reports of death-related COVID-19 cases. So we assume, without any valid reason that COVID-19 is on the downward trend in the Gambia. Although I do not subscribe to that, I would want people to still continue to observe the protocols.
All right, you are the leader of the biggest political party in the Gambia. How is it going for you?
Not very well for us, and on the 18th, we are holding our biennial Congress, at which the party will come out with far-reaching decisions that will not only relate to the structuring of the party, but also the future of the Gambia. We are going to take far-reaching decisions on the future of the Gambia at this Congress, which starts on the 18th and ends on the 28th.
All right. There is a question that many of our viewers would want to know, who are not from the Gambia or understand so much of Gambian politics, but were you the reason behind Yaya Jammeh's downfall?
Well, I think there have been various causes, various factors, but I think what I would say that the straw that broke the camel's back was my imprisonment with several members of my executive following my arrest, when myself and virtually all members of the executive, except the deputies, went out on a peaceful protest demanding for the release of Solo Sundance to us, either dead or alive. Our protest did not go down well with the authorities, and we were all apprehended. Some of it brutally malhandled, And then we spent time in jail, and I think the average Gambian felt incensed. The average Gambian found this very repulsive, and it was not acceptable that people cannot go out exercising their constitutional rights, and you go out and brutalize them and constitute a kangaroo court, dictate to them, and have them imprisoned for no just cause. I think that really the Gambian people could not accept that, and we had against Jammeh so that democracy and the rule of law can be restored, and so that sanity can also be enthroned in the exercise of our political rights and in the pursuit of our political objectives.
All right, let's talk about the current issues right now. President Barrow is the president of the Gambia. Adama Barrow, he is the current president of the Gambia. The relationship with him was so deep, from what I've read, that you were father and son. You were like father and son, and also under the same party at some point. What has caused the dispute between the two of you?
Well, the dispute between the two of us was actually the issue of wanting to take over the through unorthodox means. That was the dispute.
Wants to take over the. He wants to take over the party.
While he was, yes, he wants to take over the party. While he was clandestinely undermining my leadership of the party through some unscrupulous means. I resisted it, and on several occasions I did tell him that no one in the Gambia should dispute that President Adama Barrow is the president of the Gambia. Anyone who thinks otherwise, you live in a fool's paradise. And no one should also be idle and believe that Ousainou Darboe is not the leader of the United Democratic Party. The only time anyone can know such an idea is when we go to Congress. Congress decides to elect another leader to head the affairs of the United Democratic Party. But before then, everyone who belongs to the party, whether you're a president or a minister, whatever, you must recognize my leadership. And you will not allow anyone to undermine the unity in the party. This is what exactly he was doing. And I made it public that the so-called the so-called youth movement that he was creating, that we are not going to recognize it. And I am prepared to take anybody, whatever your position, whatever the person of any description, I'm prepared to take you on. We will not destroy this party. After several years of struggle, people have struggled for the party. Sacrificed their sweat, their blood, and some their lives. We will not allow anybody who thinks that you are president, you can come and hijack the leadership of the party. I will not allow it. And that's the situation. He is not happy about that. He could have done it in a more decent manner. But then,
this is like your son trying to just succeed you. Was it not? Is it not that you were under the same party and he just wanted to maybe lead under you as your son?
He was the deputy treasurer of the party, and indeed, whilst I was in prison, he used my name to gain support. He told the Gambian populace that, look, Ousainou Darboe is my father. If my father dies,
is it a lie?
I cannot do anything.
Was that a lie?
He says, yes, if my father dies, my political father, if my father dies, I cannot do anything about it. But then, if father's home becomes destroyed, then I would be held to be a useless son. That was very attractive to the Gambia. That was very attractive to my supporters, and they gave me support. But then, when I think he tested the office, the sweetness of the office, the father-son relationship suddenly disappeared from his thinking. And he thought he would take over the party, and because he's president, he can do whatever he wants. So then I showed him that that is possible. When we formed this party, he was not in the Gambia. He was not a founding member. It was only in 2007 that he became a member of the party. So we will not allow anyone to really to stage what I would call a palace coup. This is what frustrated him. And then he says all sorts of things about me, and which I really accepted in good faith.
But okay, but I mean, as father and son, there are disputes that can happen. He called you his father when you were in prison. Do you call him your son?
Well, I could not do anything. I could not do anything other than accepting his claim that I'm his political father. And indeed, when I came out of prisons, I did say, look, I mean, you are our Moses, liberating us, like the Israelites, how the Israelites are liberated from the Pharaoh. And I said that you are our Moses. And he also turned around and said, well, you are our Nelson Mandela.
Mm.
Yes.
So do you ever see your relationship, like the two of you mending your relationship again?
Well, there is nothing that is impossible. I'm not sure whether it is probable. But certainly there's nothing that is impossible. It's a probability that I have some doubts about, because so much has come out of his camp, me and some of my people in ways that is unimaginable. But after all, the worst enemies, in the political arena, sometimes they become the best of friends. So I'm not ruling it out. It's possible.
It's just politics. I mean, it's power, but relations are the most important. But now that President Adama Barrow has started a new party, National People's Party, and he even won the by-elections about 2 weeks back, and now he has a National Assembly number for a party that was just born maybe a few months ago. Do you, as his former father or as his father, feel threatened at all?
Well, those who understand the terrain, the political terrain of the Gambia, will tell you that since 1996, my party has not really contested elections in those two constituencies with any degree of optimism for winning. For presidential candidates, we have to have ballot boxes in every constituency. Because of that, in the Nyamina West, we have always had our ballot box there, and the same for Jokadu. Never had not any optimism of winning the place. That is why we've always left those constituencies for a political party that we thought was our true ally, so that the votes that we have there can really go on to support this other political party, which was the National Reconciliation Party. And that is why in the Nyamina West by election, my party did not put a candidate. My party did
So
not
in
put
other words, so this is like a giveaway.
Sorry?
This is like a giveaway from your party. This is a giveaway of some of these constituencies.
Yes. Yeah. We gave out that constituency because we didn't believe that we should put in our resources in that constituency, particularly at a by-election, when we really do not have the support that we believe we should have. The constituency next door, Nyamina East, yeah, there is absolutely nothing that will prevent United Democratic Party from putting a candidate in that constituency at any election. The last election, we lost the place by 43 votes. So we will never have Nyamina West, Nyamina East rather. Yes.
All right, December 2021, there'll be presidential elections. Will you be running again?
Sorry?
December 2021, the Gambia will be going for presidential elections. Will you be contesting again as a candidate?
Sorry, it's breaking.
Okay. My question is that December 2021, the Gambia will be going for the presidential election. So will you be contesting as a candidate?
Well, I will ask my party to nominate me as their presidential candidate. And I hope and wish that they accept my request to be nominated as presidential candidate.
So in other words, if they do, you will. Sir, but you have contested 4 times for presidency. In 1996, you didn't make it. 2001, you didn't make it. 2006, you didn't make it. 2011, you didn't make it. So why do you think 2021 you will make it? What has changed?
Because the political climate has changed drastically. The hostile political environment we had in those previous elections no longer exists. Although there are threats of some of the things that militated against us in those elections. But those issues we can, I think we'll be able to handle. We'll be able to handle. I mean, in the past elections, it was done under a brutal dictatorship, which had no conscience. It was not uncommon for them to pick up opposition elements, have them locked up, torture them, and in fact, some of the people that they suspect to be bankrupting the activities of the opposition parties, those businesses were also threatened, and in fact, I know some of them, in fact, crumbled in the Jammeh era. So that situation does not exist. The issue of brutality and so forth doesn't exist. But then the abuse of incumbency, which was also prevalent in those elections, is also happening now. And that is the irony. This president was elected to combat, the misuse of incumbency. He is doing exactly what Yaya Jammeh had been doing. Stage money, go to communities, ask them to come to the president and beg the president for amenities to be provided in their communities. After all, you are elected to provide those amenities. No community should beg the government of the Gambia, if no less the president, because it is not the president who has the largest, it's not his largest to give to these people. I have always said in the time of Yaya Jammeh, and I say it in the time of Adama Barrow, that his father did not leave an estate which he could use to benefit people. These are public funds entrusted to him. And it should not be seen as doing favors to the Gambian people. This is what exactly has been elected to do. So that is real, that is being abused. Public officers are participating in politics, and you hear in partisan politics in support of Barrow and his party. And you hear some ministers who had fought against that system encouraging the public officials, governors, chiefs to really support the cause of Barrow. When we had fought against that, and we see public, when we are in the opposition, we saw people who were really working against, not only working against, but vehemently and vociferously opposing cross-border registration of voters. But last week, I had a minister saying that there is pressure on land in the Gambia, and that pressure has resulted in Gambians migrating to Senegal. I know that they are preparing to register, or they want to register non-Gambians residents in Senegal on the pretext that these are Gambians who had left the Gambia because there's pressure on land in this country. And that is absolutely rubbish. It's absolutely false. It's unfounded. There is no pressure on the land in the Gambia that would want people to go and migrate and live in Senegal. We admit that occasionally herdsmen take their cattle across the border for grazing, but that is done during periods. You know, it's periodic, and they do not completely migrate. They just go for a couple of months, and at the end of the grazing period, they return. They come back to the Gambia. So I believe that it's a ploy to restart rigging the election. It's a ploy to start registering people who are living on the border in the border on the pretext that these are Gambians who had migrated. And I want to say that this particular minister was one person who has been advocating, condemning registration of non-Gambians who live on the border villages. But we are going to tackle it, because at the registration centers, we are going to have our people there, and we are not going to have anybody who comes from Senegal register in this country on the pretext that you had gone to Senegal because there is no land in this country. That is absolute. That is unacceptable, and we will not tolerate it. And we also be a little bit careful, or we are not only, but concerned with the immigration department on the issuance of the national identity cards. I want to confirm something. There's a border village called Fatoto, far away, that a center has been opened for the issuance of national identity cards, and I do not know why a place like Gunjur, very populous, why you do not have a national identity card issuing center. My hometown in Bansang is why they do not, and those are in the hinterland. But this particular village is actually on the border with Senegal, Fatoto, and we are watching, and we are also watching the fast tracking of naturalization of some foreigners. It's happening.
Yeah, now
and all those years it was rigging the election. But we are going to fight, and that is misuse of the institutions in the partisan. Monday, the president is leaving for a 30-day tour of the country. It has never happened in the history of this country. The constitution does provide that the president has to go out, meet the Gambian people, meet the community at least once a year, to see for himself firsthand the impact of the policies on the communities and what are needed in those communities. Gambia is, you cannot go to 30 days, president to go out. 30 days, that's a campaign being funded out of the coffers of the government of Gambia, on the text that you are undertaking a constitutionally mandated tour. He just returned from Kiang. He has been going around. So this is an extension of that campaign, of the campaigning for the 2021 presidential elections. And these are things that we will resist. And in fact, we are advising the Gambian people, educating them that this wasteful expenditure, the 30-day tour, that is going to cost millions and millions of dollars. It's unacceptable. And this is what we had fought for in the Jammeh era. So if it was not good in Jammeh's time, why should it happen now? President Adama Barrow, campaigned against that. He spoke against it. Why should he do it? These are things that, really is happening in this country, but for us, we are preparing. We are preparing, and God willing, on the 5th of December, 2021, President Adama Barrow will be given the exit from State House, the exit ticket from State House.
We shall keep this video and keep replaying it towards the elections, and we'll also catch up with you again towards the elections. But you mentioned Senegal, which is the only country that is a neighbor to the Gambia. What is your relationship like with the Senegal government?
Sorry, yeah.
I said you touched on Senegal, so you touched on Senegal. So I just want to know, Senegal is the only neighbor to the Gambia. What is your relationship like with the Senegal government?
Well, we have always believed that the Gambia and Senegal have to live together. There has to be symbiotic relationship. Senegal cannot, no government in Senegal can afford to be hostile to the government in the Gambia, however small we are. And no government in the Gambia can afford to be hostile to the government of Senegal. Our relationship with Senegal, like any other country, is going to be is predicated on the concept of Horomo and Bunya, that is respect for each other. And we are going to cooperate with Senegal. We, in fact, want to make sure that, when we are in government, we align, our positions, particularly when it comes to international affairs. Because Senegal, I don't think Senegal and Gambia can pursue foreign policies that are diametrically opposed, because it would not. It could be a source of conflict, and we certainly want to live harmoniously with Senegal, and we will nurture that relationship and do everything to ensure that when we talk of Senegambia, that is a one family, to give that is not just rhetoric, but it's something that is real. That is what our position is. When I say that, when I talk of people coming from across the border to register in the Gambia, this is not these people that are not being sponsored by the government of Senegal. They are not being encouraged by the government of Senegal to do so. It is the politicians, government politicians, whose constituencies, share borders with Senegal, who really encourage people from Senegal to come and get registered in the Gambia, not this government.
All right. So some people say that you've once been in government and you didn't do anything, you didn't do much. So what makes you think that people will vote for you in December 2021?
Well, I don't know. I don't understand what they say. What that I didn't do much. I have never held Gambia's pulse. The pulse I hold is my personal pulse. It's my personal pulse. Yeah?
As minister and vice president.
Well, well, I have never heard anybody in this country to question my contribution or whether effective or ineffective in the development of this country. After all, as foreign minister, I opened up the Gambia to the world. My first meeting after I was sworn in, I convened a meeting of all diplomats and assured them that Gambia would now resume its role in geopolitics. That, in fact, I did say that we want Gambia to become the human rights capital of Africa. And we did. I did pursue that. We made sure that we went back to the Commonwealth, made sure that the ICC, the decision to withdraw Gambia from ICC was rescinded. And really, we did everything that was possible to make the Gambia part of the nations. Even the Francophonie International, I worked to secure Gambia as an observer member of that. In fact, that was my last international engagement when I went to the Yerevan meeting of the Francophonie. So I think as foreign minister, I did that. And in fact, both as foreign minister and as vice president, I went out with the Chief Executive Officer again of the OIC Gambia Secretariat, and the current Minister for and Infrastructure to raise funds, to source for funding for the OIC summit that is scheduled to take place in the Gambia in 2020. And every time you listen to the advertisement here, they tell that is what we are going to do, and it's all funds that I really, went out as head of delegation to convince some of the members of the OIC to contribute, because I did tell them that yes, Gambia is hosting this this summit, but if the summit fails, it is the entire organization that has failed. So you contribute to make sure that we have a successful summit, and you can only have a successful summit if you have the required funds to host it, the required funds to do everything that is needed. So
but why would you? But why would you be an observer member of Francophone? What's the reason?
Well, yeah, because that's we are an Anglophone, so we have to be, as a non-Francophone, you assume observership. I think for two or 3 years. After which, you become a full member. Yes.
Okay, but sir, I just want to know from you, no human being is perfect. You say that you did your best when you were serving as vice president, as foreign minister, when you were serving as government. But what are some of the mistakes you have made during all your 4 campaigns that you did not make it, despite your allegations that there's been vote rigging, the election space was not good? But I'm sure there's some mistakes that you also realized yourself that I made mistakes here in all the 4 campaigns, so that it can make you a better person in December 2021. What are some of those mistakes that you saw yourself that you made?
Sorry, the mistakes?
What are some of the mistakes you know yourself you have made during the last 4 campaigns that you did not make it? For those mistakes to make you a better person when you campaign again in December 2021?
Well, let me say that the 2016 campaign, I was not part of that, because I was in jail. So I was not part of the 2016.
All right, let's start
campaign.
with the 1996 one. Let's start with 1996.
Yes, but in 1996, certainly we did not. I do not think we made mistakes. In 1996, the elections were stolen from us. There's absolutely no doubt about that. In 2001, also the elections were stolen from us. But the subsequent elections, I think we were kind of starved in funds, and we didn't have the funds that could match that of Jammeh. He was not only dishing out money, but he was also brutalizing people. So and of course, for our campaign, we are not going to be. Our campaign is not going to be funded as that of Barrow, but we have decent funds that will make us campaign as a decent political party.
All right. So Africa at large right now, as we speak, is yearning for young leaders. These are some of the debates that is even going on our Facebook pages. We are live now on our YouTube page. That Africa is yearning for young leaders. So, are you thinking of putting up or putting in place a succession plan, sir? I know this is a very sensitive question sometimes when you ask elderly statesmen, elderly leaders, but do you ever think that you should also mentor someone for a succession plan?
See, when I contested the 1996 elections, we had very high hope we would succeed. And my position then was, why should I go for second term? So I have always made appeal to the younger generation of Gambians to come and join the United Democratic Party. But then the younger generation of Gambians, were psychologically tormented. It was an anathema to be associated with the opposition, particularly the United Democratic Party, which was a thorn in the flesh of the ruling party. So young people did not want to risk of really participating in politics. And you really cannot, concede leadership to people who are not psychologically prepared, who have not prepared themselves for any eventuality. You cannot, because in 2018, at our Congress, I did say that in 2022, the United Democratic Party will certainly go on the transition. The transition will start in 2022. And also, it is in 2022 that you will have real transition in the governance of the country. And what I mean by that is that 2020, yes, we expect at the 2022 Congress, we expect young people to come up. And currently, 30% of the national executive of the United Democratic Party is composed of young people of both sexes. So we are preparing for an exit. We want to hand over the baton, but you have to have someone in the relay to whom you will hand the baton. We don't want the baton to fall.
So you've not discovered anyone yet. You have not discovered anyone yet.
Well, I wouldn't say that I've not discovered anyone, and I wouldn't say that I have. But then I'm watching both their character, their intellect, their commitment. I'm watching them.
Okay.
So
all right.
So we have, and let me tell you, there are some young people, and in the party who had vied for positions. And when they did not have the position, they left the party. It would be dangerous to really hand over the party to such people because they are position-minded. When they couldn't get the political position they wanted, they left the party. So that's why we say, look at them, look at their character, their intellect, their commitment, and so forth. And both in the diaspora and in the Gambia, we have a lot of intelligent, young, and decent young persons that would take up the.
All right. During Yaya Jammeh's era, a lot of UDP supporters were raped, tortured, kidnapped. Some were even killed. What has your party done for these people and their families, at least?
Well, we don't want to name individuals, but what is certain, my party has not neglected those people who suffered under the Jammeh regime, whether they lost loved ones or whether they were tortured or raped. We have not neglected them. And indeed, those who really were brutalized in April of 2016 on our release from prisons, we did make sure that quite a few of them went to Senegal to be looked after, have medical treatment. We did make sure of that. And others, we're trying to take care of their needs. It's not possible that we give 100% comfort to all of them, but we certainly know that we are concerned and we share with them, all of us, what we all suffered in common.
Mm-hmm.
We do our to take care of to take care of them. Yeah, but it's not for, we will not mention anyone. It is for them, those who benefit from this. It is for them to, well, my party has done this, my party has done that, my party leader has done this, my party leader has done that. I think that would be more gratifying than engaging in self-adulation.
Absolutely, and I hope we'll see some of them coming up to say this is what UDP Party has done for them. But there are also allegations that your party supporters are bullies on social media and they harass people. I'm sure you've heard a lot of reports about that. I mean, this is a party that is not yet in power that is doing this. So what will now happen when the party eventually becomes the government of the day?
But I don't know how we harass people.
Social media. Are you active on social media?
I hear this. But then our party does not have a policy of harassing anybody, and we are decent people. In fact, what I have concluded, those people who really do not belong to our party really engage in these nefarious activities and then pretend to be UDP.
Okay.
We believe is that is what is happening. And we have recording of people calling me by name. I mean, if you, the most profane, hit me. And they claim, it's not only they claim, but we know that these are people who do not belong to our party, and they belong to other party, and they say all sorts of things against us. And my position has always been that whatever the other side does, we should ignore them. If they go low, we just go high, and that is our position. So we do not have anybody, and when we have a government, UDP government, no one will be harassed. The principles that made us, principles that we stood by to oppose Jammeh, and which is also making us being opposed to Barrow, we will ensure that those principles thrive in this country. You will have a public service that is political, that it will not be politics of inducement. No one fear dismissal because you are perceived to be a supporter of another party other than the United Democratic Party. These are things that I personally believe in. They are ingrained in me. And the only time that I will principles is when I die. Because I wedded to them till death do us part.
Please don't die anytime soon. Thank you so much, sir, for granting us this opportunity to hear from you. But I will not allow you to leave the platform without speaking to a lot of Gambians. We have many Gambians watching us right now. Any parting words, any last words on this particular platform on this day?
Well, my last word is that we must all try to be patriotic. It doesn't matter what political platform you mount. What matters is that we all must dedicate ourselves to be of selfless service to this nation. Otherwise, when we leave this stage, our grandchildren will condemn us. They will indict us for not doing the right thing when we are called upon to do the right thing. And doing the right thing is really conducting our political activities in ways that really, in ways that are acceptable, in ways that we have recommended when we were in the opposition. We cannot now be in government and do exactly what Yaya was doing. For me, that be opposing Yaya Jammeh as a person. Your opposition to him is not on principles. And I would also want to say that as Gambians, we must cherish this peace and stability of this country. And that responsibility is just not on the ordinary citizen. Government has a great role in that. It is how government treats its that really helps to contain that's what helps to contain its citizens. That is what helps government to make its service. But if governments think that they can lord it over the citizens of any of their country, then they are calling for trouble. Then they are calling for instability. And my last word is that I want to say that 2021 come out, vote for UDP, and you'll never regret it. And finally, after this evening, so flurry of cars. Driving from the airport to the Independence Stadium, celebrating the victory of our under 20. I join all of them.
Congratulations. Yeah.
They have Gambia known again. Gambia is on the news for a very good reason. For
Congratulations.
So I want to
Congratulations. Thank you so much. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I was speaking to Ousainou Darboe. He's a Gambian politician and leader of the biggest party in the Gambia, UDP. Until next time for another live chat, I'm Josey Mahachi signing out.